What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Today, I'm sitting down with the founder and CEO of ChainZilla, Charles Gonzalez, aka PTYX. How's it going, man?
Nice. I'm pretty good. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So everybody's rolling into the chat right now. I'll kind of just start off with a simple question. What is the PTYX thing? Is that just a name you came up with, or
It's
what is that?
actually it has to do with a country code. PTY is the country code for Panama, and X is just an X. So Panamanian X.
All right, cool. It's pretty. I mean, it's really unique. It's definitely memorable for sure. So, okay, I see some people finally rolling in. So let's get to the questions. I guess the thing really to start right off the bat is just what is ChainZilla?
Sure. It's very simple. ChainZilla is an end-to-end blockchain provider. So what we mean by that is that our services range from onboarding to projects, for example, like NEM or Komodo. We also do token creation, ICO management, blockchain migrations, consulting, and also custom app development.
Cool, awesome. I was just checking to make sure that we were live, so got to check it on
Okay.
my end as well. Yeah, no, definitely. Blockchain as a service. Now, we've seen a lot of different of these types of projects out there as well. Some of them, even we know A-Chain, for example, has been doing it, and Komodo itself also, in a sense, does offer their blockchain as a service. So what exactly separates you guys from all these other options out there right now that we already have?
It's not that we're competing against them. What we're actually doing is expanding on their foundation, and we're actually onboarding projects on their networks. So what we're doing is that we're becoming facilitators. Our blockchain as a service is more of a condensed version of their blockchain as a service. But for example, if you launch on ChainZilla, you're not going to launch on the ChainZilla chain. You would either launch on Komodo, NEM, Qtum, or Ethereum, depending on what your needs are. So what we're doing is facilitating this onboarding process and making it easier for a company to come and say, hey, I want to launch a proof of concept on Komodo or on NEM. It's going to be a bit difficult for them to get a hold of the NEM developers, right? I mean, it's a bit of a troublesome process. So we just facilitate that process. They come directly to us. It's much easier, cost effective, and efficient.
Right. So on your website, which does make a lot of sense because it is difficult. Like you're not going to reach out to Vitalik and have
Yeah,
him help you set up your, ICO. But I just
right.
had a question. So on your website, it says that you're a fourth generation do-it-yourself blockchain service.
Uh,
I mean, is that just fancy talk, or why
no,
fourth generation? What's so different from generation three?
well, okay, so this is I guess a bit of my opinion. But in 2013, the NXT platform came out, and for us, that was the first generation of tokens. And in fact, that's actually where the roots of Komodo come from, or the NXT platform. Then in 2015, we had the Ethereum platform, which came out with all the known ERC20s. And then in 2017, Komodo, which is the third generation, and now us, fourth generation. Which, like I said, it's not a new thing. What we're doing is just condensing all of these platforms and facilitating the onboarding process.
Yeah, definitely. But so, do you mind if I ask you, why did you choose out of all the different blockchains out there, why did you go with NEM, Komodo, Qtum, and Ethereum?
So there's many blockchains, as you know, everybody knows. Ethereum we chose just for one main purpose. It's the most popular. That's where all the smart contracts are at. It has a lot of development, a lot of documentation, and it's actually a really great platform. The problem is that it has a lot of limitations. Um, Komodo we chose for one very specific reason, and it is because it's the only platform offering native tokenization. So what that means is that if you launch on Komodo, you will not have to pay fees on Komodo to make a transaction on your blockchain, right? You actually pay fees on your own token. And this is a very different model from the gas Ethereum model, which you're always going to have to pay gas to use the blockchain. So you're actually very independent with Komodo. You have your own blockchain data, your own wallet, that everything. You can even have proof of stake, crypto conditions, smart contracts, all of this stuff within your blockchain. And for NEM, we chose them because it's the most modular platform that we have found, and we truly believe that it's enterprise ready in the sense that you can go on NEM and very easily, within 4 or 5 minutes, launch a Mosaic. You can build an app, a wallet to host your Mosaic, and distribute it, build faucets with it, build voting systems, notarizations. I mean, the list is very big with NEM. Um, and what's the other one? Qtum, right? So with Qtum, the reason we went with them is they're up and coming right now, and they're the most similar thing to ERC, and in fact, they're actually compatible. We actually are working with a project now that launched on Ethereum and launched also on Qtum, and we're doing both of their smart contract reviews, and they're compatible with each other. So Qtum is a platform though that we have not built any apps for. It's still something that we're learning. It's very new still.
So you guys are essentially a Komodo chain, pretty much. So you are your own token. You're your own coin actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that? So then you guys don't have a test net. You don't have a. You are on your main net, right? I mean, you are
Yes.
your main net essentially.
Yeah. We did launch a test net just for testing purposes. For example, in January, we're implementing. Well, actually, I don't want to say January. It'll be after the ICO. We're going to implement crypto conditions, and that will give us the ability to launch smart contracts on ZILLA, smart and simple contracts.
Hmm.
And
You good?
hello, I lost you there.
We can. I can see you fine on my end.
Can
Ah,
you hear me?
the beauty.
Okay,
You got me?
I can see. Yeah.
Ah, the
Could you
beauty
repeat
of
the question?
live. Yeah, no, we're good on my end.
Could you repeat that?
What were? Oh, yeah, no. Well, what I wanted to ask you specifically was you were saying how, I know different chains are going to be able to communicate between chains with the same parent chain, obviously.
Mhm.
But like, for example, is there a way for you to be interoperable between, let's say, a NEM Mosaic and a Komodo sidechain?
Actually, it's something that we're looking into right now. The communication between the blockchains, it's a bit difficult. For example, with NEM because it's not UTXO based. It's not like a Bitcoin compatible.
Right.
But with the crypto conditions, I think I was just explaining that we're adding a crypto condition capacity. We might be able to create a hybrid type of contract that should be able to interact with both chains. So the crypto conditions will open up a lot of doors. I don't know exactly right now what that solution would be, but BarterDEX is also another protocol that is doing interoperability between blockchains. So it's something that we're really looking into to be able to enforce contracts on both blockchains.
Right. Well, I mean, they're both atomic and atomic swaps as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I had a question about, like, let's say, what about if something happens? What about if there's an issue or a bug or something like that? Do you offer any type of a guarantee, for example, if there's a problem with one of these blockchains? Can they come back to you later on and be like, hey, there's an issue?
Right. Well, I mean, from a legal perspective, we can only offer so much guarantee when it's a managed project. So with us, you can do two things. You can launch DIY, a do-it-yourself, and that would mean that we would deliver the blockchain to you, all of the applications, and then once we deliver, there's a time frame where the client is able to stipulate if everything's okay, if they need a fix, if they need upgrades. But once it's delivered, it's delivered. Once a year, there's a maintenance fee in order for us to update their code base if they want. So they can come back to us to upgrade or to do any fixes. If it's a managed blockchain, then we're more hands-on. We can offer different types of guarantees, and it will actually be in charge of the infrastructure.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, I'm just having just a little bit of an issue over
No,
here.
no problem.
We're all good though. So, yeah. So that's an interesting concept. I mean, the thing is that if we're really going to move forward and everybody is going to want their own blockchain, it's going to get really crazy after a while, right? So, I mean, are you guys looking to what about the user experience as far as have you developed any type of interfaces? I know that you said that you were working to make these other existing dApps a little better, give them a quick refresh. You had mentioned the Agama wallet and stuff like that. So, how are you working as far as that? Because I think the key is making it almost like drag and drop, simple push button solutions, right?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. That's the end goal. For me personally, I think it's super important to upgrade our user interfaces because that's the entry point for all of the users. So when you look at Komodo, when you look at NEM, you're looking at their wallet. That's the first thing you look at. So Agama is one of the most powerful multi-wallets, open source multi-wallets available, but the interface isn't optimized.
Yeah, I've used
So
it. It's
it's hard to use.
once you get used to it, but
Right.
first time you're like you have to keep opening and taking. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
little
and
complicated.
the mobile version is even more difficult to use.
I've never tried
Um,
that.
Well, yeah, we're actually we're releasing a mobile version of the Chameleon wallet, which is an upgraded version of the Nagama wallet. It should be by the end of October, and we're really looking forward to that. So what we've done is that we've taken the Agama libraries and we've done a full ground up redesign of the user interface to make it as intuitive as possible for both light mode and native. So with the native is a bit tricky because you still have to give users a lot of options. But with the light mode, I mean, it will be as intuitive as it can be. You know, a few clicks and you'll know what to do. You shouldn't have to get a tutorial to use the wallet.
Right, right. So everybody, I want everybody to say we had a little issue with the volumes on this side. How is everybody? Can you just talk for a second? We had a little issue.
Sure.
All right, I got to turn you up.
We're testing. I'm testing a new mic here too, so
okay.
I apologize.
No, it's all good. So you have a brand new mic we just set up. This is the beauty of live, though. Can you just talk for 1 second? Is that better, everybody?
Sure.
Cabster said over here you're a little low. I turned myself down as well. Hopefully that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can move my mic closer.
Zombie 30% up. Check. I think we're good for right now. I think this is good.
Okay.
I'll move away from the mic a little bit. So thank you, Cabster, for hopping in and being cool like that. So,
thank you.
What was the question that I wanted to ask you guys about? So, so what is the purpose of your actual chain itself? Mm-hmm. The actual ZILLA chain. I mean, realistically, why do you need a token? Why do you need your own chain if you're just providing a service? You can't just do that without your own blockchain?
Well, I mean, I think the most obvious reason is that we want to involve the community and also get the funds to be able to expand the wallet. So we had the option to go the traditional route, VC funding, which personally I don't like. I think it's very limiting. So if I don't know how to explain it, but for me it's just kind of personal going up to these VC guys, and they're people that will never have issues that most of us will have, and I feel that that we need to lower the barriers for investing in startups. So if I launch ChainZilla, and the point is to create blockchain adoption, cryptocurrency adoption, and to lower barriers to increase financial inclusion, then I should follow that model, right? I should do it the cryptocurrency way, and that's why we launched the token. We have plans though for the coin, because if you launch a token on Ethereum, you're limited to just transferring it and speculating.
Right. With
our chain, you're able to store key value data in the blockchain. You're able to create smart contracts based on crypto conditions. You're able to use the zero knowledge proofs. So there's actual utility of our coin. And in the business model, we're going to be using the coin for different purposes, more marketing, loyalty rewards, things of the sort. We are creating interfaces that will also charge ZILLA to be used by operators. So for example, if you want to launch a bounty campaign, right, you would use one of our dashboards, and the operator would have to pay in ChainZilla. So all of these things add utility value to the coin, and that's why we launched it.
Right. Well, because a lot of people kind of get frustrated with holding a coin that's pretty much just good for speculation.
Yeah, and I actually want to say, if you're buying the coin, don't buy the coin to speculate. I mean, if you're going to buy it, it's because you either really truly believe in the project, or you're going to use the services, because that would be the most obvious reason. Would be buying the coins lower while the service is maturing. Eventually, they're going to be, they might be worth more to actually spend those tokens on our utilities, on our apps.
Right. So Sport Billy 77 in the chat says, so just to clarify, your blockchain is needed for the managed services. It's required.
At this point, it's a no, because we're still in the process of development. That's the end goal, yes.
Okay.
The end goal is to create this ecosystem around ChainZilla, the ChainZilla coin, and by proxy adding value to the Komodo ecosystem. It's not just, we want everything for us. We want to add value to the whole ecosystem.
Right. And one thing too, because I've actually done some research into Komodo as well. So let's talk about security. What are the actual advantages of the Komodo chain? They have the delayed proof of work. Now, by default, you also work on that consensus as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely.
Yeah, could you just tell everyone why that's so important? Because it really is a pretty clever idea.
Yeah, actually, it's very simple. If you've ever used 2FA on your phone, like Google 2FA, think of a blockchain 2FA. So that's what Komodo is offering. It's the first blockchain 2FA, which secures your blockchain not only with the Komodo delay, with the Komodo proof of work, but it also has a secondary layer of security using the Bitcoin blockchain's hash rate. So you're double protected. And I like to call it a 2FA because I think it's a concept that most people understand, double factor of authentication. And what happens is that the transactions that take place on the ChainZilla chain, they get notarized onto the Komodo chain, which also gets notarized onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And it gives us that double layer of security.
Yeah, definitely. And Komodo's one of the few chains out there that is virtually 51% attack resistant.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're actually did some updates. I think it's just a few blocks until it kicks in. It's like a few hours. But basically, what's going to happen is that they've lowered the amount of blocks that they used to call this free for all time, which any miner could just pick up a block. So they've reduced that. So the notary nodes mine more than the normal miners, and this will prevent completely that takeover of this. So the 51%. And what's cool about Komodo is that, for example, you launch a chain on Komodo, and you can launch it as a proof of stake. So you have the proof of stake to have the late proof of security, which is pretty hard to take over.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's very, very, very difficult. You would essentially have
You
to,
need to control 51% of the coins first,
yeah,
and then you would have to control the 51% of the delayed proof of work, which is even more difficult because you have to control the notary nodes, which get reelected each year.
and also be able to attack Bitcoin itself
Yeah, of course.
on
Yeah,
top of it, which is
exactly.
which is crazy. Which is why, first of all, no one even has that kind of power, and those who do, I don't think they're going to do that to destroy all the millions of dollars they've put into mining the coins in the first place.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting, and honestly, I think it's just the beginning. Like, there's another project that launched on Komodo called Veros Coin, and they created their own algorithm. They forked a Komodo chain, and they created their own hashing algorithm. It only works on CPU, so it's ASIC proof, completely ASIC proof, and it still interacts with blade proof of work. So it's protected by its own hash rate, which is huge, and it's protected by the Komodo delay proof of work. So it's pretty interesting stuff happening in terms of security.
hmm. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that, so I can vouch for that myself. I've met with the team. I've actually looked into it.
Oh,
It's
you have? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Oh, no,
nice.
I've met Komodo. I've met them in person.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant Paris.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Veros. No, no, I never met Veros. No, no.
Okay, no
So,
problem.
all right, but I wanted to ask you a question. So, on your website, I noticed that you were talking about fair distribution of Zilla on the chain. What does this
Yeah.
mean? What do you mean by that? I didn't really understand it.
A few projects are doing this actually. We're not the only ones doing it. Instead of just airdropping to one community. So, for example, the usual way is I airdrop only to Bitcoin holders or to Ethereum holders or NEM holders. So what we're doing is just involving different communities. So the first airdrop was for the Komodo community. There's another airdrop that we're making, and it's going to be for. We're still working out the mechanics. We want to involve NEM, and we wanted to also involve Qtum. But the problem is that we're trying to work out the dashboard to make sure that we're inclusive of both of them because there's a lot of like spam and all this stuff happening. So we're still working the mechanics for the second airdrop, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just involving all these communities to try to get as much distribution or as wide distribution as possible.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. When I checked out your ICO details, first of all, you're not even having your ICO until next year.
January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have plenty of time until that. But the one thing that really just blew my mind was how extremely modest it was.
Yeah,
You have
the, the low. Yeah,
2.25 million cap?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
why did you pick such a low cap? And then on top of it,
that's not low for us. That's not low at all. I think that's more than enough for us to get the applications that we need ready, and not only that, that's enough for us to start incubating projects, which is a really big part of our business is to incubate new markets, new projects, and new applications. So when I look at these projects that are raising, 20, 30 million dollars to build simple platforms, I get a little scared because it's too much money. It's a ridiculous amounts of money. And honestly, I know what ChainZilla is worth, but the idea is to build this thing and build it right. I don't want to ICO this thing for $100 million, which is unfeasible right now, and end up doing something wrong. So what we want to do is the actual hard cap is based on the cost that we've already estimated. So that will get all of our applications ready, and like I said, it will get us going. It's more than enough.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, think about the ICOs even not just do you need to raise that much, but think about the investors. The investors want to make a gain, right? I mean, clearly you invest, you expect a profit. Well, if you're coming out with a $2.25 million ICO, it's a lot easier for that ICO to go from 2 to 10, right? Than if you're coming out with an ICO that's like 300 million. You know
Yeah,
how much money that takes to double from 300 to 600? I mean, you're basically setting yourself up for failure. I
I
mean,
was
that's what
just
I think.
looking. There's a company called ICO Box, and they offer, and that's actually one of the big differences between us and these other blockchain as a services. They have very little experience. I've noticed they are very like niched. So for example, like the ICO Box, they launched a token, and I think they sold it for like 30 something dollars a coin. You know how much it's worth today? It's worth, I think it's less than three. And that's kind of like, wow, so we don't really want to go that route. And like I said, the actual hard cap is based on the numbers that we know will get the apps there, and that's what we need. We need the applications.
Definitely, definitely. So, I mean, I'm going to move the conversation away from money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a big ICO guy. People know I don't really personally care. I'm more interested in what you guys are doing, long
Mm-hmm.
term. So, as far as that, I noticed also on your website you have the ChainZilla faucet. I didn't sign up
Mm-hmm.
for it though, but what is that exactly? Is that something?
It's, yeah. Right now, it's very basic. You just log in, and every 48 hours, you'd be able to turn the faucet and get some Zilla. But for the operator, actually, it's a bit different, because for the operator, it gives you a dashboard where you're able to bring in the users. They sign up for your newsletter. You're able to distribute airdrops to them, or the faucet actions. And what we're working on right now is adding more features to that. So you'd be able to carry out bounties. So, like, for example, if you have a tweet, right, you want to pay someone point 0.1 Zilla for that tweet, you would actually be able to launch this through the faucet dashboard.
Okay.
So it's something that we're developing.
Because currently, right now, you're really only compatible with a Gamma or whatever else is working with Komodo. So that's why you're kind of aggressively pursuing creating your own updated wallets.
Hmm. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you
And
want people to actually use it for tipping, not a lot of people have a Gamma.
no,
So,
no, and even then, I mean, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. We need something better, not only for us, but for Komodo as a whole. We need a very top of the line wallet. There's projects coming in right now that are gonna be putting Komodo on a different status. And I think in the past 6 months, there's been more projects coming in than in the past year. So I think it's just going to keep accelerating. And as soon as we have a state of the art wallet, uh, ChainZilla will be able to capitalize on that, and also everybody will be happy that they have a good interface that they can use.
awesome, awesome. I'm definitely excited, man. I'm all about bringing it to the masses. The easier you make it, the better. That's all people care about. Is it easy? If it's
Yeah,
difficult, even if it's better, but if it's
yeah, no
difficult, they
one.
won't do it.
Yeah, I know. Only a few people will definitely use it if it's difficult. So that's what we want to do. Just make it very simple to use, and actually simple to launch. Like, if you launch a coin, for example, if you want to be added right now to Atomic Wallet, which is supposed to be an atomic dex or something like this, it costs you 7 Bitcoins, 7 or 8 Bitcoins. That is crazy amount of
Yeah,
money.
that's gonna be a no for me,
So
dog.
it's exactly, so for a project that is launching, for me, I think that's just a bit ridiculous, and we want to offer a better solution, and we know we have the tools. So that's a role that the Chameleon, the wallet, will play. It's an entry point for all these projects to come in and launch the coins without having to pay 5 to 10 Bitcoins to be on a nice wallet.
Yeah, definitely. That's ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wanted to move the conversation a little bit. I wanted to talk about your team. So you only
Mhm.
have, I mean, what is it, like 7 core members right now?
We have to update the site. We have a lot more partners now, and some more team members. I think right now we're about like 11 or 12. It's still small. It's not like that big.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what question did you have about them?
Well, no, I mean, I wanted to make sure that you guys are growing, expanding for what you're trying to tackle. You're going to need more than just 7 guys.
Oh, for sure.
And on
Yeah.
and on
Well,
top of that, I was actually kind of curious to ask you, what about your background and experience really do you think is going to make this the best out of all the other blockchain service platforms?
I think experience is the major factor. I've been with Komodo ever since it was created. I was one of the original members of Komodo, and I've been in crypto
Oh, I didn't
for
know that.
about, Yeah, I've been in crypto for about 4 years. Improvable track record, not only myself, but for the team in terms of applications and blockchain projects. I've approached many of these other ICO platforms because there's blockchain as a service like Azure that will let you launch a blockchain, but that's it. You can't really do anything else with it. Maybe adapt. You can't launch ICOs. You can't really tokenize the way that you would on Komodo. And then you have the other side of the coin, which is the people that only launch ICOs on Ethereum. So, and that's really the majority. If you want to call those people competition, those would be our major competition. The one that the people that launch coins on Ethereum with no functionality and just an ICO token. And we want to improve that completely.
Well, here's my question. So, I mean, obviously you're not raising a lot of funds, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
really have too much concern of what you're doing with the funds.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is since you're already on a mainnet technically because you're a Komodo chain and you're your own
Right.
coin, what are you planning on actually doing with these funds raised? And on top of that, like what can we expect in the short term?
Mm-hmm.
Like short term, long term, where are we at
Right.
right now with this development stage?
The funds will be dedicated to research, very little marketing. So what you should expect from us in the short term is very very nice looking applications coming up for us for the Komodo ecosystem. You should expect also projects launching. We have two projects right now in the pipeline. We haven't really been marketing it much, but one of them is launching on Komodo and one of them is launching on Qtum. And that's what you should expect. You should expect us onboarding new ideas, new projects, and we're trying to break away from this model of just the white paper ICO. The ideal client that we want to bring in is someone with already a minimum viable product.
Okay.
Uh,
I was going to
so
ask you
yeah,
if you were focused on more enterprise or individual, where you're kind of
it
aligning
depends.
yourself.
I mean, it really does depend, but I would like to say that MVP is the minimum that we would like to see before we take on a project as a managed project.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically I think we answered everything I pretty much had for you. I mean, you're pretty straightforward. You're kind of just a do it yourself every service. I mean, like
Yeah.
give us a recap again. What are all the services again? Because some people are coming rolling in late.
Onboarding,
Right.
that could be tokenization, ICO management, proof of concept application, custom wallets, DEX, decentralized exchange integration, blockchain migrations, and just simple consulting.
And how confident are you in this? Do you think it's over ambitious or what? I mean, is
No,
there anything it's easy or is there anything difficult for you? You
no,
seem very
actually, we have all the technology. It's a matter of polishing it. I felt confident about this for a long time. It's just getting all of these blockchains that offer broad things and condensing it to where someone can just look at it and understand it very simply. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to really do anything new. We're not reinventing the wheel. Um, and yeah, I feel confident that the technology that we have now is actually ready. It's just a matter of polishing it and putting it to the masses.
just making it user friendly, basically.
Yeah, and actually education is a big part of it. That's I think we didn't touch on that, but
Yeah,
ChainZilla,
let's go ahead.
sure. ChainZilla is working with universities. I'm actually now a NEM ambassador for Panama, and we're working. NEM and Komodo and ChainZilla are working with the universities in order to do talks, education about these applications, about possible new utilities coming out of the blockchain. And I think that's really what's going to drive new ideas, new applications, new projects, educating people. And if we try to educate with a complex interface, it's going to be difficult. So, like you said, as soon as we make it simple, that's our starting point.
And do you have anything else kind of that you're like is there any updates that you haven't put out yet? Do you have any like ideas brewing? Is there anything else you can expand with this service in the future?
Yeah, there's something that I've been planning, and anyone that knows me knows that I've always talked about governance, and I feel that the Komodo ecosystem needs governance, and not only the Komodo ecosystem, but other ecosystems, smaller projects that don't have any type of governance. So the idea was born out of the actual the faucet dashboard, and what I want to do is create a governance as a service type product. And what this would do is just it would allow any project to launch, for example, votes or community-driven events, community-driven initiatives, things of this sort, without having to spend 3, 4, 5 months developing, creating their own dashboards, maybe even longer, and making it very easy to use. And I think governance is a big part of blockchain, or it will become even a bigger part of blockchain. Self-regulation, things of this sort. So if we incentivize it, I think it will grow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're talking more than just like clear poll, more than just voting.
Yeah, I mean yeah, definitely more than that. It's more, I guess, geared towards enterprise, also like community, like big communities taking decisions, where we actually have to talk to the university in order to see if we can pilot a voting app for the university. So things of this sort, things that we can apply to the real world other than just the virtual blockchain world.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Charles, is there anything like else that you kind of think we didn't cover today? I think we went over a lot. Is there anything you want to leave before we go? I don't know if there's any questions from the chat. We pretty much answered everything, but is there anything you want to say before we go?
No, I guess, well, just keep an eye in the months coming up. We'll be releasing the mobile application, and I think that will be actually very big because there isn't a mobile app right now for Komodo. And we'll be on the
Mobile's
App
huge.
Store.
You need mobile. Everyone's on
Yeah,
their phone.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I feel it's important. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And then in January, we'll have the ICO. After the ICO, there will be some news coming out regarding some of the partners that we've already established and the projects that are going to be launching. So yeah, I mean, just keep an eye on it. And there's a lot of new things coming to Komodo in regards to development. So that's something to watch out for.
I've been paying attention, definitely. I think Komodo's a really underrated platform. A lot of people think it's like this old clunky tech, but what they don't realize is that they're like, oh, well, this thing can do 1 billion transactions per second. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the fact that you can literally infinitely clone the blockchain forever. So if you run into a wall and you need more, you just make another one.
Right.
And you can actually have a contract that can do that automatically for you.
When the crypto conditions are fully implemented, it's going to be amazing, the things that we'll be able to do. Like the faucet actions and all these things, we actually created the first crypto condition faucet. So you don't even need a dashboard to create a faucet with crypto conditions. But it will make it that much easier to interact with it. So it's going to be very, very interesting what the things that we'll be able to do with it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, have you done any other interviews outside of this one? Have you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I've done quite a few. Not recently though.
Okay.
For ChainZilla, yeah, this is I think I've done 2 others with Crypto Rich, but we haven't really done a lot of marketing.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I just kind of stumbled upon you guys and was just like, this is a good idea. So yeah, I mean, I know like the ICO is really far away and people might hopefully don't forget about it, but I don't know. I just kind of wanted people to have an opportunity to hear about what you guys are doing, listen to this project. I'm really interested in it. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on what you guys are doing. And yeah, so for everybody that was here, thanks, Charles. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you as well for having me. It was fun. Hopefully we'll be back with more news.
Yeah, definitely. Stop by in like 6 months and we'll see where you're at. Well, we'll do like an update video or something. So thanks everybody that stopped by the chat tonight. I know it's a little bit of a new project, so it's not not a lot of people know about it yet, but I think a lot of people are going to know about you guys. Plus you got the name ChainZilla. Come on. That's like such a clickbait name. Somebody, like, everybody just wants to know what you're all about anyway. So all right, guys, thank you so much for the live chat tonight. You're awesome. So until next time, the drill. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Stay crypto. And of course, peace out.
Ciao.